This is a cable from the truck's electrical system that I'll use to charge this battery, and well, the main reason is to power my fuel tank, my fuel transfer tank. I can plug this directly in there, but I have two connections on this battery, so I'm going to plug this into the battery and plug the fuel tank into the other connector. If I can get this unfrozen here, I guess I can tell. already cleared about 10 trees from this stretch right here, so I get the excavator out. Looks like a lot of the ice is melting off of the trees now. But there's still quite a bit of ice on the trees, as you can see right in front of us. Looks like that tree against the dump truck has broken off. So we're heading to Columbia. It's about an hour away. All main roads, except for getting to the main roads, which we're going to attempt to do now. So we'll see what this road is like. I'm heading north on McGee, and rumor has it we can get through here. I started clearing this yesterday with my excavator. Here's a couple spots I cleared. This electrical high voltage segment is pretty short. It's only a mile long. It ends right there at the last lot in the Woodlands. So there's probably only six customers or subscribers on here, so they prioritize recovery of the power lines based upon how many subscribers they have. So I'm guessing we'll be last at the bottom of the priority list. So right about here is where my excavator broke down, and I had to turn around and go back. So rumor has it that you can get through here. The main part I'm concerned about is a pretty steep hill at the end. Of course, when we come back, we'll have a full tank of diesel fuel in the back, and that extra weight should help with the traction in the back. So wish me luck we don't go in the ditch up here. So there's no power in this part of McGee Road. That's how rural it is. So anybody who's in this section is off grid. Oh, look how pretty that is. Now, of course, we have lollies at the top, which is most of where this damage was. Those things are, they snap pretty easy. These native hardwoods are what's native to Middle Tennessee, and of course they held up pretty well with the ice storm. I haven't seen too many of those down, and that's why this section of road is pretty clear. The loblollies are not native to the area. The loblolly pines, they are not native to the area. So the timber companies came in, harvested the hardwoods off of the top of the ridges, and then planted loblollies in their place. And those loblollies they transplanted in Middle Tennessee is what has caused the majority of the storm damage. So can we blame this on the timber companies? I think so. The storm damage would not be nearly as bad if we didn't have all these loblollies planted everywhere. lollies, lob lollies, lob lollies. Of course, riding shotgun with me is Penelope and Raven, 2 black lab pity mixes, I'm guessing. Okay, this is kind of a steeper area I need to be real careful on. McGee Road doesn't get a whole lot of traffic on it, so fortunately there's still a fairly decent snow cover on our roads here. Old Hohenwald Road, and this is the worst part I'm most concerned about. This is really steep. Probably doesn't look like it in the camera. But Old Hohenwald Road gets a lot of traffic, and with all the cars going over it, it's glare ice. It's like a skating rink. You know, at least a half inch, maybe an inch thick of glare ice. And you know, with the roads, how the roads are, I forget what you call them, the middle, not concave, but they're graded towards the ditches. If you stand on Old Hohenwald Road and just try to take a step, you end up sliding into the ditch. It's pretty comical. We actually pulled someone out yesterday, and it was just it was quite an ordeal just to get chains hooked up and find traction for my truck to pull them out. I actually had to pull them out of the ditch from inside the ditch where I could get traction, and then slowly work back up to the ice skating rink, the field. Now there's the old bridge and the Buffalo River down there. So that's how close we are. This is McGee Road. This is actually a lot better than I had expected. Well, there was not a lob lolly that came down, so I guess we do have some native trees here that have fallen. Now these trees, these roads are made passable from the local residents. This isn't the county coming out and clearing a path. This is local residents getting low on propane, getting low on food or whatnot, and they jump in their truck with a chainsaw, go down the roads and just, you know, cut a path through the trees where they can drive a vehicle through. You can't really see it on McGee Road here, but Old Hohenwald Road it's like a war zone, and you'll drive right through the middle of a tree. There'll be the trunk on one side, and then, you know, the canopy of the tree on the other side, with the middle part missing so you could drive through it. Okay, now we're in the Short Creek area, and supposedly they have power down here, but I don't know for sure. The electrical segment is a different segment down here on the north end of McGee. Of course, we finally have some warmer weather today, which you can see dripping on the truck from all the ice melt from the trees above, which is a good thing. It will alleviate some of the weight on these trees. You know, even several days later, when we were clearing roads the other day, there were still trees that you'd hear snapping off in the woods. That finally, you know, they made a good fight, but then they eventually succumbed to the weight of the ice on their limbs and cracked, even when there was no ice storm event going on. Now this is Short Creek here, which connects to the Buffalo. Eventually we're going to make it to 412, which I'm guessing is going to be pretty clear. And that's about a 45-minute drive to Columbia, where I have to pick up my excavator parts. And diesel fuel is a lot cheaper there too, so that's where I intend to load up some diesel fuel for my RV into that transfer tank I have in the back. Alright, now here we finally have some decent roads. I'm guessing I could probably turn off my four-wheel drive now. Sure is pretty, but dealing with ice is quite a deal. So right up here is 412. This is where I'm gonna probably turn my camera off. Well, let's just leave it run a little bit here. So this is the main drag. I expect to be clear. It's all the side roads and this, you know, the secondary roads that are some of the things I learned to pack in the back of my truck, which may seem obvious, you know, in hindsight, but I have gas can right now. I mean, this is something that I've been building through this storm. I originally just had some gas cans in there. I was going to go get some diesel fuel, but a lot of my tools were over at a client site, so I didn't have access to them. But now I have 2 diesel cans, a giant fuel transfer tank that holds 60 gallons with a pump on it that I can pump into anything. There's a truck in the ditch. That's not getting out anytime soon unless it has a wrecker. Some MLEC Crews working, maybe. Some signs up. Looks like they're getting ready to restore this guy's power. That was actually David Qualls, the manager of all the linemen. So I didn't imagine he was sitting home in front of a campfire, toasty warm, or in front of a fireplace. He's probably working 16, 20-hour days. Good guy. I'm pretty stoked about getting this fuel transfer tank in the back of the truck. I was having some major anxiety with that. It was, I hadn't thought, well, you can't think of everything. I mean, you don't know what you're going to need. You know, I had enough diesel fuel in my RV for probably, 4 to 7 days, so I didn't really anticipate this event being longer than that. Oh, there's Someone looks like they're doing road clearing. But I'm down to, you know, a quarter tank of diesel fuel. Oh, there's some lines still down. I can't imagine they have power in this segment. So yeah, there's a big segment of lines down there, and we're along 412 here. So this is a main electrical artery for this whole county. 412 and Highway 13 are the two main roads, and if they don't have power restored here yet, there's some more on the left. It's going to be a while before we even get power back on McGee. Yesterday, the electric company put out a morning and an afternoon update. The morning update yesterday said we could be without power for 2 weeks. Today's update said that we could be without power for weeks. So that, you know, is concerning. Looks like that might be an electrical crew in front of us. You know, and they might have already had this fixed. And yeah, that's an out-of-state electric company. They might have had this fixed before, and you know, with the ice still in the trees, you know, they keep falling. Like I said yesterday, they were still falling. So a lot of these electrical outages may have just happened today. They said as they were clearing issues, new issues were cropping up, you know, destroying the stuff they just fixed. Now here's the other end of Old Hohenwald Road. So that's another way into our subdivision. And there is the Columbia Town Square, where a country artist recorded Try That in a Small Town. That's where that video was made. And voila, we have 319 diesel. I'm so happy. Thanks, gas buddy. That will save me on 60 gallons $6 from the next lowest price around here. I didn't look to see what their regular fuel price is. $2.39. That's not too bad either. So let's see here. Where is the diesel? That's not diesel. Well, we got diesel up here. So I guess we'll get regular gas first, and then fill up diesel up there. All right, this is Troy Rindy. RV land property, everything with it, selling, buying, improving, maintaining, planning. If you like this video, subscribe, ring the bell, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Elizabeth. just an update on some of the other roads. I went north on McGee from Harmony Ridge, and it was fairly easy to connect up to 412. So if some of you are closer to McGee, it might not be a bad way to go. There is that steep hill along there though that's a little treacherous, but not too bad. Looks like a war zone. And this is a county road, by the way, 4 days after the storm. I would not want to do this in a two-wheel drive vehicle. To Columbia today, and 412 was good all the way there through Hohenwald, and I actually filled up my transfer tank of diesel fuel, so, and then a couple other 5-gallon tanks, and I have approximately 70 gallons of diesel in the back, so I have some pretty good weight in the back of my pickup truck. Give me some pretty good traction. Of course, Raven keeps wanting to roll the window down. This area here is feels pretty icy. So we're driving west on Old Hohenwald Rd from the east, from the Hohenwald area, and we are heading into the west end of the Woodlands at Buffalo River subdivision, and we'll effectively be in that area when you see power poles. Starting to fishtail just a little bit. I'm going to slow down before I end up in the damn ditch. The darn ditch, I mean. So. Then we got some areas that have melted off, which is a good sign, like right here. So tomorrow I think it's supposed to be warm again. Friday I think so as well, so hopefully some more of these roads will melt off, and then this weekend of course we have a deep freeze coming again. Like that might be a new tree that fell because there was tracks underneath it. actually three different ways out of the subdivision. We just came down one from Hohenwald. It's called Old Linden Highway off of 412. Raven, put your seatbelt on. It's my dog. The other way to get in and out of here is Holler Road, which is just before you get to our subdivision. Actually, there's 4 ways. And then there's McGee Road, and then of course there's Old Highway 13 at the end of this road. I heard that was still blocked, but I'm not sure on that. So I know one way is open, McGee. Whoa, fishtailing. These ruts make it difficult. They just are like a track. It just wants you to get in. There's Holler Road, and that is one way. And now here is the start of the Woodlands at Buffalo River subdivision. Here's the first utility pole on the left. So pay attention to those wires overhead, and we'll see what the status is. This part here is pretty good. For sale. Anybody want to buy one in the middle of this deep freeze? I don't think too many buyers are going to be coming out now until some of this stuff clears up. But I digress. So this is our first side road. Starlight Drive. The treacherous part is when you hit your brakes to slow down for one of these turns. Now right here on the right side, yesterday there was a Ford Explorer stuck on the right side. And this was all glare ice, and right there is where I pulled them out. It looks like it's melted off a little bit, which is a good sign. Ford Explorer it was an older Ford Explorer. I would say probably 20, 25 years old. The tires on it, I wouldn't say they were bald, but they didn't have much tread on them, and the 4-wheel drive didn't work on it. So he wasn't able to get through here and had to turn around. So there's Chestnut Drive. Now this here is very icy. Actually might be a little bit better than yesterday because today was so warm. There's some power lines under heavy stress. Looks like it's blocked, but it's not. It's just an obstacle course. And here is a little bit of off-road we have to do. There's the gas line that goes through here. Oh, it looks like a war zone. That's for sure. This is what's affectionately called the Dick's Triangle. Like someone charging their RV. I want to stop and talk to these people I see on the side of the roads. They're my neighbors. I just want to get this video done because I think it will be helpful to let the whole community as a whole see the condition of the road. So I want to get that done first. Out of camera battery. There's Hillbrook. Fearful coming down this road before I got on it, but I was fearful it was going to be glare ice, and it may not be glare ice. I mean, right now I'm sliding. I got my brakes on. It's not exactly glare ice, but it's pretty darn close. Well, that's pretty with the sunset. Go in the ditch a little bit. That makes me a little nervous. It'd be really easy to get sucked into the ditch and be stuck. I believe this is Vista. stretched to the max. Makes me wonder if the wires actually physically stretch. You know, is they going to remove the trees and do they spring back into place, or are they going to be a little droopier than they were before? Subdivision, that's for sure. These curves are banked pretty good, which makes the road even a little more treacherous, because it'd be pretty easy to slide down into the inside and down into the holler. Ridge Drive. Looks like a fiber line hanging down pretty low. Now my lot 36 is coming up here on the right, so we're getting towards the other end of the east end of the subdivision. Looks like we have Meriwether Lewis out here. Looks like it might be MLConnect. They're freeing up dogs. This is MLConnect freeing up some lines, which is a good sign. They're working on Old Hohenwald Rd. They got a lot more work to do. So it looks like they're trying to get some of the areas clear where the trees are on the lines, at least. I guess that'd be the first step to reestablishing service. Lot 76. Boy, that sun sure is pretty through those ice trees. Well, there's still more lots here on the right for the Woodlands of Buffalo River, but here we're going to start to get into the existing legacy homes that have been here for a long time. And here we are. This road was plowed like the same day or the day after. Harmony Ridge is to the right here, but I'm just going to keep going to see how far I can get down this way. I flew the drone on Monday and it looked like you could get all the way through here, but maybe not. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out. Cedar Ridge Drive, or Center Ridge Drive. And this on the right is lot number 1. This is where the subdivision officially starts. Is at that lot. Head down McGee Road. Back to Harmony Ridge RV Park. Looks like my window is kind of all yuckied up. Let me see if I can clean that. Paper towel. saw the path through the trees. But I came through here and just cleaned them up a little bit more. I wasn't going to touch this spot here where the trees are hanging over the power lines. I'll leave that for the power company to take care of. This lot has no power. Their high voltage line is completely down. Before dark, because once those temperatures drop, the roads even freeze over more. They become more slippery, and I have groceries to unload. Tell you what, I had a little anxiety heading out on this trip today, all the way to Columbia and back. But unless I go in the ditch the next 100 feet, I made it back safe and sound. So we're gonna go in here and unload some diesel fuel. So I'm getting pretty low. Hopefully it's still running. I don't hear it, but it's a quiet owning, which is pretty quiet. All right. Success. Oh, I hear it now. Let's go feed some fuel into the RV. Pumping 55 gallons of diesel fuel into the RV. That will get me through this weekend. And if I run out of that, I can go get more.